the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Alright, what's up y'all, it's Logan, and I'm here bringing y'all this review to this Lil Brick project called Road to Ouroboros. Hope I'm saying that right. So Lil Brick is an indie artist who actually reached out to me on Twitter, shameless plug, at LCK116. It's called Revelation Rap Reviews. I do the same type of stuff on there that I do on here. It's a little bit more personal. Enough of that. Anyways, reached out to me on there, asking for a quick review on there. And now, I'll admit, usually I don't love doing these indie reviews on YouTube. They're not going to get a lot of views. And a lot of the times, you know, it's not that great of music either, you know. I'm never going to do it if it's just a single. If it's an album, you know, if there's enough for me to talk about, I might put out a review. But I listened to this one, and it's clocking in at 4 songs, 11 minutes. And when I saw that, I was like, maybe I get a review on the channel, maybe I don't, but probably not because it's so short. I loved this project, so I thought, absolutely, I am going to put this on my channel. You know, I got to talking with him, got a couple of details about the project, and so here we go with me getting out a review. So now this is his debut project. He is a relatively new artist. His debut album is supposed to be coming out within the next month or two. From what he said, it will be called Ouroboros. So that's why this is the road to that. You know, he just thought, why not just put together a couple of tracks and release this? He said it took about, I think he said 10 days or so, a week, maybe 6 days, I think, 6 days, to actually record and release this thing. And then, yeah, now we're just waiting another month or so until the next thing comes out, the actual album. But in the meantime, that's what we got here. So a couple of things that you'll notice. One, going through these tracks, it gets darker as you go along. I will say the first track has the darkest tone, but as you go on, the message kind of gets a little bit darker, I do believe. And then another thing you notice is his involvement in the song. So on the first track, he only has a really short verse and gives more room to the hook and to the second verse that is featured on there. In the second track, it's kind of 50-50, where he has, again, a short verse, but still a lot longer than on the first song. And then the featured artist gets more of the second verse than he did on the first verse. And then the third song is like a cipher where he does get his longest verse so far. But again, it's also the longest song, so it's a bunch of different artists just flowing together. And then the fourth song is entirely him, as it is a freestyle. And I will break down all of these songs track by track. First, I want to go through the pros, though. The first pro being the production. Yeah, for an indie project, usually the production is very subpar. I mean, subpar in comparison to albums that I usually review, you know, artists that I've actually heard of before now. But for an indie project, it was amazing. Like, you can tell some money was spent on this one, and he put that to good use, getting some really solid production, some solid beats, and some solid mixing and mastering altogether. And then the other thing you really notice is the writing is really on point. You know, a lot of indie artists that I hear about and reach out to me, they usually have trap projects, which aren't always that fun to listen to as indie projects, because again, they're going to lack in that mixing and mastering, and that's what really makes a trap project. It's not the lyrics, because usually they're not coming through with anything spectacular, but this one has a lot of multi-syllable lines, has a lot of solid bars, a lot of solid topics, everything, so I really enjoyed that. Now, if I'm going to go with the cons, again, it is an indie project, so there is still a lack of resources that does show, despite the fact that I do say the production is a positive. There are moments where auto-tune is used that you can tell, you know, they don't have that good stuff, you know, to where it would have sounded as professionally done. And then a couple of just minor mixing and mastering things that would have been noticed, or not noticed, but would have been done better if done by a major label. But again, that's just a lack of resources, so I can't really fault you for that whenever this is literally your very first project, you know? Just looking forward in the future, if you do make it big, obviously make sure not to have those same things in there whenever you actually have the ability to control them. Other than that, Again, I did mention that him being the main artist, it builds in how much he's actually on here, with him being the least on the first track and then being the only artist on the final track. Honestly, you're like Lil Brick is a really good artist, really good bars and a solid sound. I would have loved to hear more of you on this, honestly. I enjoyed what you had to say. I enjoyed the way you presented it, and I gotta say, I look forward to the actual project, the actual album coming out, in hopes that you are more of a focal point. That is the one thing I could say would be an improvement to this one, if Lil Brick had actually been more of the focal point. But that being said, I will go into the track-by-track analysis, starting with the song Energy, which right off the bat, that was probably my favorite song. It really spoke to me, and that's whenever I listened to that, and I was like, dang, I'm just going to play that again before going to the next track, because it was so good. Out of the information about this project that he sent to me, I do know that this song did cost the most money. I didn't ask how much. Obviously, that's not any of my business. But this song did ended up costing the most money because it did have a hook on it and really freaking good production. I loved the beat on here. It was crystal clear. It had a really dark, murky, almost like Future on Trapped in the Sun, almost that type of vibe, or like The Weeknd when he's getting really toxic. Those kind of vibes, but it fit really well with like the multi-syllable bars that we're getting as well, almost like an Immortal Technique type thing, but not that underground of a sound, more enjoyable than that. Not knocking Immortal Technique, I do enjoy his music, but it's just not really it's more profound and not as like, dang, that was just good, So I really enjoyed this track. I really enjoyed the hook. Again, it adds to the dark sound going on here. Brick having the first verse, really solid verse, really short, which again, that is the downside to this song, is that it's really good, but really short. I like his sound. It's like almost like a little bit of a strained voice, to where it's like similar to a Lil Uzi Vert, but you can tell there's more to it than that. Just in the sound, like if you took that and Young Thug kind of mixed them up a little bit, but without the trap influence per se, I enjoyed that sound a lot, though. It's really good. Actually, let me throw out Jid out there as well. It's just those higher pitched voices. That's what I'm really getting from him, and I like that. I like that he's able to emulate that and make it sound good, but also add really solid bars to it as well, and some really good writing. Now, when I touch on the second verse, that is Alex J. Again, never heard of this dude, but I really enjoyed his verse as well. Amazing bars. Obviously, he was more of a focal point on this one than Lil Brick, like I said, which is unfortunate, being that Lil Brick is the actual artist releasing this project. But this Alex J dude, he sounded like Jay Givens, which for those of y'all who don't know, I have seen Jay Givens live. He is a former Humble Beast Christian rapper, not so much a Christian rapper anymore. He's kind of sworn that off into becoming more of a mainstream artist, and speaking out for himself as a homosexual and stuff like that. That's not why I hear that in this verse. I hear that more in his voice, and the fact that he's using these multi-syllable deep. He's using big words, basically. Let's say that. He's using big words, and it sounds very intellectual, and whenever you actually listen to what he's saying, it is very intellectual. And that's why I'm making the comparison to Jay Givens, because he has been, in my opinion, famous for that. So definitely, if nothing else, check this song out, because we are already over 8 minutes into this review, and I've only gone through one song. After that comes At War, and this song has more of a pop rap vibe. This is the one where the auto-tune comes in, where again, it could have been mastered a little bit better. It could have been used a little bit better. I understand the money probably isn't there to make, and the resources aren't there yet to make it sound better. So in that case, maybe if you had just gone without it, it would have been better. But I'm not over here complaining. I'm just saying that is one thing that takes you out of the track. But overall, this is the socially conscious song on here, where he has a lot of commentary on stuff that's going on now, such as police brutality and racism, how the news lies to us, and even talking about drug addiction. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the way he's able to paint a picture of these type of topics. I love the way that he presents it as well, with more of a strained voice, almost sounding like he's choking up, maybe about to cry, just really upset about it. That really helps to present to you how important these topics are to him and how important they should be to us. I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed this track as well. Now after that comes Eagle Died, and this is the hype track, again the cypher track on here, where it sounds like an old school type of like almost like a Wu-Tang cut, but with a more futuristic beat, not so much with the Shaolin shadowboxing type beat, you know. Again, the beat's really solid, although a little bit minimalistic, I'll say. It could have been a bit more outstanding to where it was more involved, you know, just deeper cuts and stuff like that, but overall, I mean, I enjoyed the fact that it was not overshadowing the artist's rapping, because that's what you really want from a cypher song. So while I'll say it could have done more, it did not detract from the song that it didn't do more, because what you're really here for is to hear their bars and what they're spitting, and it is really good. Again, it's very much like a cypher. Like, it's about 4 minutes long, and each artist gets their solid amount of bars. They come through, they spit what they got to spit, and it's really incredible to see a new artist like himself already have this this grouping of spitters all around him willing to work with him. So that is really cool, and again, that's another positive that has me hyped for the future of where he could be going with his career. And then finally, the last track, Forever Freestyle. From the information that he sent me, this was recorded in 10 minutes, done completely off the dome. This is a legit freestyle. None of it was written. And again, you're noticing some solid lyricism on here, done over a very solid beat. Now, in my opinion, it is the worst lyricism throughout the entire album. Just based on the fact that the entire album has really great lyricism altogether. And he's a really good writer from what I've noticed. So the fact that he didn't write this is going to make it the worst lyrical track, because it's just off the dome. But that being said, his off the dome bars are better than some people's pen and paper bars. So I am really impressed by that as well. A really solid way to end this project. Overall, I gotta say, dude has a future. Again, the main issues just stem from him being new, not having the resources, and most likely not having the money to get those resources quite yet. I'm not here to speak on his financial standings, but, you know, I understand that the resources just aren't going to be there when you're getting started. And you're not going to want to put, well, even if you had the money, you're not going to want to put millions of dollars into your first project, you know? You're going to want to test the water, see what people like, and then improve on there. I really enjoyed it, though. Great bars, a great sound, especially considering what the resources are. You spent money where you needed to and put it in, you worked it into incredible music. Again, only 4 tracks long. It shows 4 different facets of your sound. It's completely 4 different sounds, again, with the dark but lyrical track, with the social commentary track, with the cypher, almost old school sounding track, and then with the freestyle. I really enjoyed how you were able to show all 4 different sounds. That could be seen as a complaint if that had been done on a longer project, but being that this is just your intro EP, just showing who you are, that's exactly what you needed to do. Now for the album, I'm hoping that it can be a little bit more cohesive, just because, you know, that's what you want from an album. Whereas in an intro EP, you're wanting just for you to show off your skill set, you know? I want to see your skill set showed off in an album, but in a more cohesive way to where it makes for a cohesive project, obviously. That being said, you did this very well. Very freaking well. And I will definitely say check this out. I will definitely be on the lookout for what's coming next. And I gotta say, I usually do not give ratings to indie artists just because it's not in my nature. I'm just here to critique them, to give them the praise that they deserve, but then also tell them how they can improve. But in this case, I really enjoyed this one so much. I'm not going to give it like a word rating, but my number rating is going to be an 8 out of 10. I've really freaking enjoyed this one, and like I said, I cannot wait for the next actual album to drop. Make sure y'all check this one out. It's on Spotify. If you want to listen to it, just look up Lil Brick, and you'll find it on there. Again, I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub. Hit the bell next to my name for notifications. Share this video so your friends can check it out. Follow me and follow Lil Brick because he is legit. I appreciate y'all, and I will hit y'all up next time.